This is NBK, nothing but Knicks. When Sim passed the assist, you know that it's #1 show that breaks down the game. If you can't play defense, stay out my way. Dribble the ball, come down the lane. 5 seconds on the shot clock, who gon' win us the game? You wanna hear Nick updates and trade rumors? Postgame reviews, this the place you tune in. So tell a friend just to keep the ball moving. Like the page if you feeling the movement. Every game we coming to win. Give us a sub like a player that came off the bench. This is NBK, nothing but Knicks.
Knicks family, what's poppin'? It's your boy. Ladies and gentlemen, the Knicks dropped the Christmas Day game versus the Philadelphia 76ers. They played a pretty good game for most of the game. They entered the fourth quarter with a 1-point lead, ladies and gentlemen, and then they crapped out for the rest of the way. Knicks only scored 16 points in the fourth quarter. The ball movement slowed down. The shot making definitely slowed down. And the Knicks, folks, are currently on a 3-game losing streak. It is now a streak. Before today, it was they lost 2 in a row. Now they're on a losing streak as they get ready to embark on a West Coast or the Texas Triangle, if you want to call it. And the Knicks had good games across the board, ladies and gentlemen. But again, fourth quarter, the Philadelphia 76ers turned up the heat and the New York Knicks could not handle it. Couldn't handle the heat when they turned it up, ladies and gentlemen. Julius Randle had 35 points and 8 rebounds, played an excellent game for most of the game, but fourth quarter, folks, it was hard for any of the Knicks to buy a bucket in the fourth quarter. Anybody. 35 points, 8 rebounds, and 4 assists from Julius Randle. He was 50% from the field. He attempted 24 shots. That might be the most on the season, or at least one of the highest of the season for Julius Randle in shot attempts. He was 4 for 9 from the three-point line and 7 for 7 from the free throw line. R.J. Barrett, 17 points, 10 rebounds, and 4 assists. Jalen Brunson, who left in the fourth quarter and went back to the locker room, not exactly sure why, but he had 23 points and 11 assists. Mitchell Robinson, 10 points, 16 rebounds, 7 offensive and 9 defensive rebounds. But ladies and gentlemen, the Knicks just did not have enough to compete with the Philadelphia 76ers in the fourth quarter. Time after time again. I tell you what, throughout the third quarter, when it felt like the Knicks had a 14-point lead in this game. 14-point lead. I didn't expect it to stay. I wanted that lead to grow as big as possible because you knew the Philadelphia 76ers were going to make a run. You knew at some point Joel Embiid was going to get hot. You knew James Harden was going to start make shots. So I wanted that lead to be as big as possible. And when the bench came in, Philadelphia started to make a run. And see, the Knicks bench offensively is definitely at a disadvantage. I was thinking about it during the game. The Knicks come in with Emmanuel Quickley, Jericho Sims, Isaiah Hartenstein, and then you have and Miles McBride, and then you have R.J. Barrett running with the bench. And when I looked at Philadelphia, they got 4 bench players in, and then James Harden. Clearly, James Harden is the best person on the floor at that time. And every time the bench unit came in, the Philadelphia 76ers would score more buckets. Because the bench unit, ladies and gentlemen, as we've documented time and time again, even throughout the 8-game winning streak, the bench unit, the current bench unit, is not scoring well. This current bench unit is averaging like 21 points. Very good defensively. Maybe not today, but normally they're very good defensively. The Knicks need some kind of scoring punch off that bench right now. Emmanuel Quickley, 11 points today. He's really the only scoring punch that the Knicks have coming off the bench. at the current time. Miles McBride's not going to give you anything. Hartenstein, Sims, they're not going to give you anything. So the Knicks are going to have to figure that out. And here's the reason why I still believe that 10th rotation spot that Tom Thibodeau's not using, it's going to be filled by somebody who can play defense and score, I think. A two-way player. That's what the Knicks need in that spot. Two-way wing player. But anyway, I'm not going to delve deep into that. We'll keep it on this game because I'm only here for a short period of time. I know everybody wants to enjoy the rest of their Christmas with their families and watch basketball and open gifts and do things like that. I want to do the same. So I'm only here for a short period of time. But the bench, ladies and gentlemen, and I seen somebody say it in the tweet, or not in the tweet, in the in my comments, in my chat. You know, the bench can't score, and yeah, the bench can't score. That's the next issue to arise for the New York Knicks, and they got to figure out how do they tackle that issue. Because when you're playing with the guys that I just mentioned, and Deuce and Hartenstein and Sims, and quickly with RJ, and you're going up against James Harden, it's going to be tough. And then, ladies and gentlemen, third quarter, Joel Embiid just basically took over the game. He scored every way possible in the post and mid-range, foul line. The Knicks could not keep Joel Embiid off the line in that third quarter. Every time we turned around, Joel Embiid was shooting free throws. Sometimes they weren't fouls, in my opinion, and sometimes they were fouls. Joel Embiid tonight was 10 for 15 from the free throw line. And most of them, I believe, in that third quarter. As a matter of fact, I'm going to pull it up right now. Joel Embiid, well, he was 3 for 4 in the third quarter, so maybe it was the second quarter. But there was a period of time, and maybe it was just throughout the game, but there was a period of time where Joel Embiid was eating from the free throw line. And in the second quarter, he was 7 for 9 from the free throw line. The Philadelphia 76ers on the night, obviously when you got James Harden and you got Joel Embiid, you're going to shoot a lot of free throws. They were 23 for 29 from the free throw line, and the New York Knicks were 14 for 17 from the free throw line tonight. The 76ers made more free throws than the New York Knicks even attempted, ladies and gentlemen. It's tough to deal with those two guys, and I knew in the fourth quarter, when the Knicks really crapped out scoring in the fourth quarter, early in the fourth quarter, when Philadelphia took like a 4-point lead, I kind of felt like that was it. Because I didn't feel as though, especially when they took a 10-point lead, but even when it was about a 4-point lead, I could see the way the Knicks were playing. The Philadelphia 76ers, their defense was suffocating at that point in time. The Knicks were struggling to get off clean shots. And I'm going to tell you when the key for me, the key point in the game. Fourth quarter, Philadelphia, they knocked down a three. They take a 3-point lead. I think it's 101-98. The Knicks go to the bench. Coming off the bench, the Knicks really needed to settle in and get a good shot. And they didn't. They didn't get a good shot. I think Quentin Grimes maybe took a 3 off of a kick out. The Knicks got the offensive rebound and kicked back out to Julius Randle, and he took a 3. It was an air ball. And that right there, even though Philadelphia didn't come down and score, I felt like that was a moment where the Knicks needed to regain composure and settle things down, and they failed to do so out of a timeout. Jalen Brunson wasn't in the game at the time, because this was like the top of the fourth, about 10 minutes left in the fourth quarter. And normally Jalen Brunson is out of the game at that time. But I felt like that was the point in time where the Knicks really needed to settle down. And maybe, Tom Thibodeau, you bring Jalen Brunson in, even if it's for just that, for 2 or 3 plays. so the Knicks can settle down and settle in, because that's what he's here for. That's the sole purpose that Jalen Brunson is on this basketball team, to keep this team composed. And at that point in time, the Knicks needed to get a really good shot, go to the foul line, score the ball, whatever, out of that timeout when Philadelphia had just taken a 3-point lead, and they did not get a good shot, in my opinion. And I feel like that was really, the turning point came when George Niang hit the 3 to put Philadelphia up 3. But the Knicks had a chance, I felt like, to kind of turn it back their way coming out of a timeout and prove to themselves and everybody else that they were still in this game, and they did not. That was a key point to me. Key point of the game. And from there, the Knicks continue to not score the basketball. Like I said, the Knicks had 98 points at that time, and they only scored 14 more points throughout the rest of the game. Terrible fourth quarter by the New York Knicks. In the fourth quarter, the Knicks shot the ball 30%, and they shot at 12.5% from the three-point line. They were 7 for 23 from the field. Philadelphia wasn't that much better, but they were enough better. They were 9 for 21 from the field. They made two more shots than the Knicks. They were also 5 for 15 from the three-point line. Right, and Yang was 4 for 7 from the three-point line. James Harden was 1 for 4. Yang really did his thing in that fourth quarter from the three-point line. And, there was a point in time where he made one at the top of the fourth, and then he missed a few. But he continued to get open, wide open, and eventually you knew he was going to knock one down. And he knocked one down, then another, then another. 12 points for Yang. Joel Embiid led the way for the Philadelphia 76ers. He did Joel Embiid type things. He had 35 points and 8 rebounds. James Harden, 29 points and 13 assists. DeAnthony Melton, 15 points and 3 rebounds. But the Knicks were the fourth quarter collapse, ladies and gentlemen. Fourth quarter collapse from the New York Knicks. And, for a long while, I was looking at the game and I said, this seems pretty similar to the previous Chicago game. And, the Knicks, in Chicago, the Knicks held that lead throughout the entire game, and then they lost it towards the end of the fourth quarter when they didn't hit free throws. And I was feeling like maybe this would be the same thing tonight, that the Knicks would keep this lead, and then have a chance to correct it and knock down their free throws at the end of this game to win it. But they collapsed, ladies and gentlemen. 4 turnovers in the fourth quarter for the Knicks. And for the entire game, the Knicks only had 8 turnovers. For the entire game, 8 turnovers. 4 of them in the fourth quarter. 4 of them in the fourth. Fourth quarter collapse by the New York Knicks. So where do the Knicks go from here, ladies and gentlemen? Well, it's now on to the, I don't know if you want to say West Coast, but, it's time for them to hit up Texas, ladies and gentlemen, and see if they can test their luck out in Texas. The New York Knicks take on the Mavericks on Tuesday night. They take on the Spurs on Thursday night, and then they take on the Rockets on New Year's Eve. The Texas Triangle. The Dallas Mavericks, that's going to be a tough game. It's going to be a really tough game. So they've got to be ready for that. And hopefully going back on the road, the Knicks are now 2 games below 500 at home. They're 10-6 on the road. Maybe going on the road gets the Knicks back in the right mind space. The Dallas Mavericks are 17-16 on the season. Obviously missing Jalen Brunson. It's going to be a homecoming for Jalen Brunson of sorts, going back to Dallas where he got his NBA start. expect a good ovation. I guess a good ovation for Jalen Brunson. Hopefully he feels comfortable on that court. All right, San Antonio, 10-22 on the season. Houston, 9-23 on the season. Those are two games you would expect the Knicks to get. Right? You would hope that they get those two games. The New York Knicks currently, ladies and gentlemen, are 18-16 on the season. They're still sixth in the Eastern Conference, but they failed to create separation when they had the chance to. So now they're just a half a game above the Atlanta Hawks, who are 17-16. Half a game above the Indiana Pacers, who are 17-16. 1.5 games above the Miami Heat, and they are 2.5 games above the Toronto Raptors. All right, so the Knicks, they didn't do what I thought maybe they could do. Right? I thought maybe the New York Knicks would have been able to create some separation. They were unable to, but hey, let's put it like this. The Knicks have not had more than a 3-game losing streak this season. They're going to go into Dallas. Dallas plays today versus the Los Angeles Lakers. As a matter of fact, that game is probably on now. They're going to go into Dallas. They need to go get this win. I don't want to see a 4-game losing streak by the Knicks. They need to get that game. They've really got to feel a sense of desperation now. Go get that game in Dallas. And then try to finish out that Texas triangle. There is something that I want to talk about that I seen in the game that I think the Knicks are using to combat or to counteract defense that's on Jalen Brunson. I'm going to get to it, but let me get to a couple of phone calls first. Caller, you're live. Tell me your name and where you're from, please.
My name is Emmanuel from Blessing.
Emmanuel, what's going on, brother? How you feeling?
I don't know what to say, man. I mean, this is getting ridiculous. I mean, look, I understand that we don't have quote unquote superstars, but at the same token, you can't lose 3 straight games at home and act like, oh, we have pride. No. I mean, come on, bro. I mean, if we would have won 3 straight in a row, we would have won 11 straight. We probably would have been the 5th seed instead of saying the 6th seed. Instead, we're still the 6th seed. I mean, I know they were better, but not better enough to be in the big elites like the Milwaukees, the Boston, and Philly, and Brooklyn, and let's agree Miami, even though Miami struggled, but they're still the Eastern Conference. They still have been in the finals like the Milwaukees and the Boston. I mean, the Knicks got to show some pride. And you're right, they have to win on Tuesday because they can't get it done at home, which is baffles me because we actually won more games on the road than at home in the last 2 seasons now.
Yeah, it's a little bit crazy. The Knicks are 10-6 on the road, 8-10 at home.
It's disgraceful. I mean, it's disgraceful because back in the day, we usually win. We barely win games at home, and we lose a lot of games on the road. Now, flip the switch. The last couple of years, we're winning more games at the road, even though it's mediocre. But we're terrible at home. I mean, come on, man. Where's the pride? Where's the action? And the players, they're not showing it at a consistent pace because the basketball is 48 minutes. Be consistent. If your shot's not falling, get fouled, and also the defense, be on your man. Don't let him get to you.
Yeah, I hear you. I mean, I think the Knicks are playing hard. They're just not getting it done when it matters. And today, it mattered in the fourth quarter. The Knicks were not able to execute in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's sad because, you think about it, the last couple of games prior to this, I mean, we allowed Pascal Siakam play the game of his life, 52 points. We had Lamar DeRozan hit a jumper and a foul. And, and now you got James Harden and Joel Embiid had double-doubles, between them. I mean, and you got Gorgie Jan became a fixture. If you think about it, I believe Yang and Tucker made a big difference in the second half, in particularly on the defensive side.
Yeah, yeah, they both made a big difference. I mean, Tucker's always going to play good defense, and then Yang was, able to, you know, knock down threes in the fourth quarter, 4 threes in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
Yeah, that hurts you, man. Hey, Emmanuel, thank you for the call. I appreciate it. Have a Merry Christmas, man, to you and your family.
And you too, brother. And please keep up the good work, you and your crew. Thank you.
Appreciate you. Appreciate you. Big shout out to my man, Jam Rock. Thank you for joining in. Merry Christmas to you. Merry Christmas to everybody. And he said, Sim, and this is very, very true. In all fairness, we have seen the win streaks and then losing streaks before. That's why I didn't get too excited about the win streak. Philly went zone and we struggled to score. You're definitely right. You know what I mean? We've seen it with teams around the league, for years and years and years, where you have a winning streak and then, you lose some basketball games. That definitely happens. And Jan Rock, I also seen you asked about the best way to beat a zone. The best way to beat a zone is by moving the ball. You know what I mean? You're not really going to dribble penetrate. You can dribble penetrate through a zone when the ball swings and you have the defense rotating. But, if you think you're just going to catch the ball in one area, hold it, jab step a couple of times or be in triple threat while the zone sits still and penetrate, you're going to have a tough time. You beat the zone by making the ball move, making the defense shift, and then attacking the gaps, right? You can attack the gaps with your dribble. You can attack the gaps by, knocking down mid-range jump shots, through cutting through the gaps, whatever it is. You know what I mean? But you're not going to do it by holding the ball in one spot. The ball's got to move. Not necessarily, man movement is great. But in a zone, you got to have ball movement first, because in a zone, there's only 5 players on the floor. So it's never going to be even in a zone. There's going to be an odd front. There's going to be an even front. So an even front would be like a 2-3 zone, right? An odd front would be like a 3-2 or a 1-2-2 zone. And so as an offense, you're going to go opposite of that. So if you're in a 2-3 zone, then that means you got 3 people up top, one at the key, 2 on the wings. So now that top of the zone has to shift. Or if you have an odd front zone, you might have 2 people up top and 3 people down, along the baseline or however you do it. That way, the top of the zone still has to shift. Right? And now with the zone shifting and moving, this is when you can attack gaps. The biggest gap most of the time is going to be in the middle of the zone at that foul line area. That's going to be a gap. And as the defense rotates, you attack that gap. You have somebody slash into that gap, and then you find them, right? And then that person can operate inside there. Now, you still got to have shooters out there, because in a zone, it's going to be, the zone is created, especially a 2-3 zone, to cut off the middle. So if you do get the ball in the gap and you go to penetrate, the defense is going to crash in to get the ball out the middle. You got to kick it out to shooters. Right? There are ways to, you can beat the zone. The Knicks were beating the zone in the first half because they were attacking it. The ball would move, and then they would attack it. In the second half, they slowed it down a little bit. The Knicks slowed it down. And obviously, they were not able to attack the zone the same. The Knicks killed Philadelphia on the glass, ladies and gentlemen, 46-32. Right? You're seeing rebounding from Julius Randle. You're seeing rebounding from Mitchell Robinson. And Mitchell Robinson, for a little while, in the first half, was doing a good job on Joel Embiid. And then all of a sudden, Joel Embiid started drawing fouls. Fouls on Mitchell Robinson, fouls on Jericho Sims, fouls on Hartenstein. 30 assists from the New York Knicks, most of them in the first half. Matter of fact, I think the Knicks had like 27 assists in the first half of the game. And then in the second half, the Knicks just went, in the fourth quarter, the Knicks went ice cold. even open shots, even when they did move the ball, they were unable to convert, ladies and gentlemen. In the fourth quarter, the Knicks had 3 assists in the fourth quarter. Let's see what they had for the half. In the second half, the Knicks had a total of 13 assists in the second half. So the Knicks had 13 assists in the second half. So then they had 17 assists in the first half. So my numbers were wrong. Maybe it was the third quarter where they said the Knicks had 27 assists. But 30 assists for the New York Knicks for the game. 17 in the first half, 13 in the second. The Knicks shot the ball well, 47.8% from the field. They shot 37.5% from the three-point line, 82% from the free throw line. Philadelphia shot just a little bit better, 50% from the field, 46% from the three-point line, 79% from the free throw line. But the thing is, Philadelphia shot way more free throws than the Knicks because Joel Embiid and James Harden continued to create fouls. And then, of course, the three-point shooting in the fourth quarter by Yang really did do the Knicks in, and the Knicks couldn't buy a shot. The Knicks made one three-point shot in the fourth quarter. 56 points in the paint for the Knicks, 21 second chance points for the Knicks, 12 fast break points for the Knicks, and the Knicks win all of these categories. It looks like the Knicks, if you look at these numbers and you erase the score, it looks like the Knicks had a chance to really win this basketball game. It's that fourth quarter, ladies and gentlemen. That fourth quarter. Now, what I did want to talk about, though, really quick. You're seeing the Knicks use, and maybe they used it in the past, but I didn't see it much. You're seeing Jalen Brunson setting a screen for Julius Randle. And then Jalen Brunson slipped the screen, and you've seen it happen 2 or 3 times in the third quarter. This may be something that the Knicks are throwing in there to try to counteract teams putting a tough defender on Jalen Brunson. All right, because now, let's say, for example, the Knicks have, Jalen Brunson has someone like Ayo on him, right? Brunson goes and sets the screen. And if he slips the screen because Ayo is overplaying, he slips the screen, maybe you get Brunson free in the paint. Or if he just switches on to Julius Randle, now you either have Julius Randle with a smaller guy on him, or you can get Brunson the ball with a big guy on him. So this may be something to watch to see how much more they do it. Maybe I just missed it in the past, but it seemed, clear today. Right? And the Knicks were able to capitalize a few times off of that little set there. And it may be something the Knicks are putting in to counteract tough defense on Jalen Brunson. So something that I'm going to be watching in the future as teams decide to put longer, tough, rugged defenders on Jalen Brunson. Nice little wrinkle that could pay dividends as they continue to go. It could pay dividends later on in the season when teams try to load up and shut down Jalen Brunson. You know what I mean? But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, this is a tough loss by the New York Knicks. 3 in a row now. All right, they've lost 3 in a row now. They're on a 3-game losing streak. They're going to go out to Dallas. Hopefully they can defeat the Dallas Mavericks. Then they got San Antonio and they got Houston, 2 teams towards the bottom of the league record-wise. If the Knicks are focused, I think if the Knicks are focused, they can take all 3 games on the West Coast. And it's going to be crazy because if they do that, they'll be 13-6 on the road and 8-10 at home. But this team needs the road to refocus. I'm not going to say that they're not focused. I don't want to put it like that because I think they are focused. They came into the game ready, and that was clear. Right? Philadelphia has a tough defense, one of the top 10 defenses in the league, just like the Knicks. You know what I mean? So the Knicks came into the game focused. They played hard. They played very well for 3 quarters. You can see the play begin to deteriorate in the third quarter, but you expected the game to tighten up because they're playing a good basketball team. The fourth quarter, the Knicks just lay an egg. But they're playing hard. They're doing things that they should do and supposed to do. They've got to execute better in the fourth quarter. 3 games in a row, they did not execute down the stretch. Well, this game didn't really get down the stretch. But they didn't execute in the fourth quarter. See if they learn some lessons, ladies and gentlemen. But anyway, I'm going to head up out of here. I know it's not a in-depth type of a breakdown and all that kind of stuff, but, maybe later on tonight, be able to get on and talk some more Knicks. I just want to jump on, talk about the game, and wish everybody a Merry Christmas. All right, enjoy your time with your family. Okay, and I'll see if I'm back on later tonight. It depends on what's going on. Maybe not. I don't know. If not tonight, I'll definitely be on tomorrow. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, be easy. Enjoy your holiday. I'm about to go enjoy mine. I've been enjoying it. About to go enjoy it some more. Spend some time with the family. All right, so Merry Christmas, and I'll see y'all. I'm out of here. Peace.
This is NBK, nothing but Knicks. When Sim passed the assist, you know that it's #1 show that breaks down the game. If you can't play defense, stay out my way. Dribble the ball, come down the lane. 5 seconds on the shot clock, who gon' win us the game? You wanna hear Nick updates and trade rumors? Postgame reviews, this the place to tune in. So tell a friend just to keep the ball moving. Like the page if you feeling the movement. Every game we coming to win. Give us a sub like a player that came off the bench. This is NBK, nothing but Knicks.